for your 2-minute opening.
Thank you. My name is Jeff Brower. I ran 4 years ago to be your Volusia County Chair because I saw a need in our community that wasn't being met. I've been here since I was 3 years old. I bought acreage with my wife. We farm. Our best crop is kids. We also farm vegetables and cows and chickens and all organic directly to the public. And since we've been doing that since 1999. And so I love the land. And I realized that somebody had to protect the land because we're tending to just pave over every square inch that we can. So I wanted to stop that. I wanted to bring some responsibility to the way that we grow. I also was noticing that our tax system was out of control, that our property taxes go up every year. And we have been successful in halting that. This year, the Volusia County Council is really close to giving you, for the first time in recent history, an actual tax reduction. That hit a bump in the road on Tuesday when 4 members voted to increase the millage instead of keeping it where it needed to be to give you a tax break. But we got 2 meetings to finish that. And I want to say thank you to Troy Kent and Don Dempsey, who stood as firm can be to give you a tax break. And we're going to continue to do that. With your help, we can win it. I also was very concerned with water quality, and the county has made tremendous strides in water quality, but we need to do more. I've been elected as chair of the Indian River Lagoon Council because of my work on water quality, and that was voted by my peers from South Florida all the way up to Volusia County. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Burnett, your 2 minutes begins now.
You might need that when you think. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Don Burnett. I'm the current mayor of the city of Port Orange, and I'm very, very glad to be amongst you all tonight. This is a tremendous opportunity. I'm speaking as a native. How many people here are actually born in Volusia County in this room right now? So there's a few of you. So you're the other ones. I was born here, and I'm probably going to die here. So with that in mind, I very much invested in making sure that we have the quality community, the quality county that we all want, what we all deserve. Port Orange has been ranked among the top 20 safest cities my entire 8 years as mayor, and that's really where it starts, is with safety and security. We have issues at the county level with ambulance transport that need to be addressed. We need to not be sweeping things under the rug and talking about what's right all the time, but we can't always talk about what's wrong without talking about answers, and we need to address that. We certainly need to talk, the chairman talked about the importance of water quality. We've had a lot of solutions to things like that in Port Orange, and I'd like to help bring that to the county level. We have, as a standard practice, we dump 0 gallons of water into the Halifax on a daily basis because of our reclaim program. And we can do that on a larger scale in this county. I want all of you to feel like you can call me and talk to me anytime you'd like. I will talk to anybody, anywhere, and I will be among any group of candidates, anywhere, anytime, because talking about what you need is as important as anything that we can talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Denise.
First of all, thank you so much for coming out and listening to us tonight. I got in this race late, needless to say. I was asked 15, 16 months ago, Deborah, you gotta run. There was a meeting, I said no. And I meant it 15, 16 months ago. Well, I currently serve on the Florida Communities Trust in Tallahassee, and with the governor, responsible for all the Florida Forever monies. Well, the last grant cycle, we had applications, just under 34 million for grants in all of Florida. The counties and the cities, nonprofits, the green groups. And first thing, what do I look for? I look for Volusia County. I look for my cities. I look for our groups. You know how much we had, how many grants were in that package like this? 0. So we talk green, we talk environment, we want to protect, but we're not getting a return on investment. we're without excuse. We have Volusia Forever, and we have ECHO monies to use for return on investment for match. That started me thinking, that started a whole lot of meetings at my dining room table with some leaders around the county. So that opened up some discussion. But years ago, a little bit about me, I was in Ormond Beach. I was an account rep for MetLife. I was a securities dealer, had a Series 7 license. I currently have a real estate license. I'm very strong in administration and finance. That is my strength and collaboration. This election for the county council chair is about one issue. That's leadership. And that's what you're going to hopefully hear a lot from tonight, why leadership and why there's been a void in the DS, in the land, in leadership. So going forward, I look forward to working with you, answering the questions. I'm Deb Danese. I got in late. I understand that the lineup was there. I get it. I understand how it works, but I'm going to work really hard to be your next chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Dodd.
Well, thank you, everybody. Can you hear me okay? All right. No? Okay, let me try this. Wait a minute. How about that? No. Okay. I appreciate being here. I do appreciate the other two races that you put on and the candidate forums that you did earlier. It's good information. You know, I sit up here and my resume doesn't include any elected office experience. I am not the candidate who's run a campaign or been elected by the people to any office prior. I've never sought that position. I did learn today that one of the reasons that my grandson thinks I'm running is he thinks it's because I want to move Taco Tuesday to Friday. So, you know, it's interesting, little kid's perspective, right? Honestly, if you listen to the group, everybody has a passion for the community. Everybody has a passion for the community. I think and I don't doubt and challenge any of that. I do think what's different is that I've spent, since 1982, when I first moved here from Northwest Pennsylvania, small town, rural Pennsylvania values coming to Volusia County. I was taught back in the time that I was growing up through grade school, through high school, through mentoring from other people, if you work hard, the American dream is open to you. The American dream is available to you. The American dream is available to anyone. Well, I moved to Volusia County, and in 1982, that started to become a reality. And so when you figure that out, when you figure out that Volusia County has helped me be able to, and my family and my children, my grandchildren, start to experience the American dream, you have to be able to hope to be able to deliver that back to everybody else in Volusia County too.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett, the first question goes to you, and if you were paying attention, you might know what it is. What is, in your opinion, what is the primary problem in Volusia County, and how would you propose to fix it?
Well, I think, I haven't heard this question except 3 or 4 times tonight. The primary problem, there's multiple problems, but the biggest thing is how do we manage what's going on with growth? And actually, you take a look at it. The city are not the biggest culprits of growth. Daytona Beach, 900 and some odd permits, but the county itself, 727 residential permits last year. That's more than any other city except the city of Daytona Beach. So what are we doing with that? There's an awful lot of tax revenue that's coming from those dollars. What are we doing with those dollars? So we can go to rollback and still add $43.8 million to our budget, even at rollback. So what are we doing with those dollars to make life better for the people here? So those are the questions we have to ask, and knowledge comes with asking the right questions first and foremost. So we've got to ask those questions first, and listen, and work towards those problems and tackle them together.
Thank you. Ms. Denny, same question.
Thank you. Well, first of all, the issues, right, that we see going forward?
The primary problem that you see in Volusia County, and how would you address it?
Well, first of all, let's think of Volusia County. Another reason that I'm in here, because, and I really believe this is not just a hashtag campaign issue. I believe Volusia's best days are yet ahead. I truly believe that. I can see it. I know it's happening down south of us in Brevard. That's moving forward. They are tapped out down there as far as jobs go and manufacturing. You want good jobs, we bring that aerospace, aviation, supply chain, and jobs up here. We create jobs, we create a culture, we create a place where people want to be and increase the tax revenue at the same time, right? But again, it's leadership. What is your vision for Volusia County? Volusia County, I was talking to some folks before we got up here. We are geographically larger than the state of Rhode Island. So Volusia County Council, the chair and the council, think about it, they're making decisions like they did yesterday for basically a state.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd.
So, sorry, I'll get this figured out here in a minute. I think, you look at the challenges that the community faces. So many of those challenges are a result of growing pains, right? So we went from an organic growth period over several years to an explosive growth period when COVID came. And so you look around my state that I grew up in Pennsylvania, people didn't want to live there during that time. Michigan, New York, we've started to take on an awful lot of residents here in our community. And so it put pressure on infrastructure, which we all agree is something that's needed. We also, there's no doubt, that same 9-year-old little boy that said, hey, his papa's gonna move, Taco Tuesday to Friday, I want him to grow up here. I want him to go to school here, I want him to go to college, and I want him to come back and have an opportunity to have a great, am I done?
That is fine.
Okay, sorry. To have a great opportunity to do the same thing that I've done here.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you. I talk to people all over the county. I do monthly town halls, and I always ask them, what are your top 3 concerns for Volusia County? I don't care where I am, I get the same 3 answers every place I go. Growth, overdevelopment, water quality that comes from growth and overdevelopment, and taxes that are trying to pay for growth and overdevelopment. We have to deal with growth. If we deal with that one thing, we will deal with water and taxes at the same time. This county council, you have 3 really strong votes that are very thoughtful about the way that we grow. You don't need 1 less vote, you need 1 more vote on the county council. To change the way we have to change our current development pattern, because what we're doing as far as coming in and clear cutting property, draining the wetlands, paving it over, putting houses, flooding out all the neighborhoods around it is not working. It's not fair. And we can change that, and we are. We can change it very easily on the council by just saying no to changing zoning.
Ms. Denny's, the next question will go to you. CFOB has had these candidates forums for a really long time, and I was looking back through my notes over the years. I think I've posted since 2018, been the moderator. And one of the questions that always comes up for county commission or county council candidates is about the beach. Dogs on the beach, smoking on the beach, driving on the beach, four-wheel vehicles on the beach, turtles on the beach. Recently, the county council is requiring visitors will need to pay $20 for an off-beach parking day pass or $100 for an annual pass. I want to know what the candidates to each candidate, what are your priorities on how the beach is used?
As far as the beach is used, first of all, I think the council did a really good thing in charging visitors to pay on off-beach parking. Kudos to the county council. That's going to generate, as I understand, just under $5 million in general revenue to the general fund. That's a win-win for everybody. Dogs on the beach, your area wanted it, good for you. They adjusted, they allowed that. My area, Southeast Volusia, they would run us all across the bridge and you would never see South Beach again. But that's okay, we've got a large beach, we've got a long beach. If you want to do that and your area wants it, that's great for you. So there's enough off-beach parking. Well, we need more off-beach parking. But as far as driving on the beach has always been the third rail of Volusia County politics, always. And it's amazing how it always comes up during election time, because that's the issue. But right now, we have a beautiful beach. I support the direction that the council is going. I know that there's interest in putting cars back on the beach. The issue there is the federal take permit.
Mr. Dunn, what are your priorities for our beaches?
Well, I think the number one priority for our beach is to preserve it. We gotta make sure that we preserve it, we nourish it, we keep it healthy. You know, I remember the very first time I came here, 1976, I wasn't quite 16 years old, and that was the first place we went, was the beach. You know, I grew up in northwest Pennsylvania. The beach was a stream, you know, in a rock bed. So we got to make sure that we keep it healthy. We also need to make sure that we keep it safe. The beach, if it's not protected properly, it can be a gathering place for people that we really don't want down there. So safety is critically important. With regard to the way that it's being used and utilized today, you know, it's probably the most diverse use of the beach that we've had. We have a place for dogs with people, we have a place with cars with people, and we have just a place for people. And so I don't really believe that there's any point in trying to change any of that right now. I certainly don't advocate for putting more cars on the beach.
Mr. Brower.
Thank you. The beaches are our main economic driver. It's also the jewel of Volusia County. This county council has been proactive and successful in preserving our beach. We did just open up a dog beach. Thank you for your help, Nancy Lohman. A whole half mile, a little over a half mile, out of 47 miles of beach. That's not too much to ask for a very diverse population who has different, maybe everybody doesn't want to take their dog to the beach, but now we have one spot. We have taken too many cars off the beach. We've taken 61%, closed 61% of our beach. So now we have a parking problem. So now we're using thank you for voting for ECHO. We have the money to build parking lots. We're not going to charge you to park there because you've already paid for them in your ECHO and property taxes. We're also going to remove the charge that you pay at next month's county council meeting for getting on the beach because you already paid for that in your property taxes. You shouldn't pay for it twice. Thank you, county council, for being proactive on that.
Mr. Burnett, same question.
Well, I've certainly lived within 2 miles of the beach my entire life, and as mayor of Port Orange, while we don't have beachfront property, I spent a lot of time down there and have seen the 6.6 million cubic yards of sand that have disappeared from that beach. And it wasn't just the hurricanes a couple years ago. We're talking about a couple decades of neglect. You drive down there and you see in older buildings where the steps ended and where they've had to add several steps to the bottom of it because sand is missing. That's only going to continue. So we need to modify our beach and renourish it. We have to work with our coastal cities. Our master plan for that beach needs to be done in conjunction with our coastal cities for the things that make sense. We haven't done that. And lastly, when it comes to beach parking, yes, you paid for it. You shouldn't have to go down there. The problem with non-residents paying for the same rate to park on the beach as in the parking lots, they're going to go down on the beach, pay that same money, and crowd the beach even further, make it harder for you to access it. So we need to charge non-residents for off-beach parking, but we need to not incentivize them to go on the beach and use up our space. The price point is something that's going to need adjustment.
Thank you. Mr. Dye, the next question goes to you. Ron DeSantis included $10 million for the relocation of Belvedere terminals in the state budget. Do you believe that this resolves the fuel depot on Hull Road at Ormond Beach, or do you think we need to do anything further?
I would like to hope that it resolves the issue of the fuel farm on Hull Road. You know, I don't think that the problem is that right now the people who are trying to develop that have gone quiet and silent, and so we don't really know. I do think at this point what's important is to make sure that the fuel terminal, the fuel farm, however you want to label it, it never should ever have been in a place where there are people, residential homes, recreational activities by children and adults, never should be there. So it's not good enough just to figure out how to move it out of Ormond Beach. It's got to be something that, whatever it takes to move it away from people, period. And I think that's, I had this experience in my hometown where one of these types of facilities blew up. So the good news is that it didn't affect other people except those that were working there. And unfortunately, one fire.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Is it still working? I wish that I could tell you that, yeah, they're going to move, but they have gone silent. They're not talking to anybody. They know that they've got $10 million sitting in the bank that they can use only if they move somewhere else. Brevard County, Flagler County, somewhere else in Volusia County. Honestly, I don't want them anywhere in Volusia County. Belvedere has never built a doggone thing. I don't want them building a fuel storage facility in our county as their first attempt. Their parent company, Grupo Mexico, who for some stupid reason, the state of Florida sold them our railroad, has the worst, horrible safety record in for transporting fuel. We don't know if they're talking to Flagler. Flagler says no. They're not talking to Brevard County, but they've got $10 million sitting there that can be used to move. They need to move.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett, the Belvedere fuel terminals.
The Belvedere fuel terminal is not going away anytime soon. And one of the reasons you're not hearing about it right now is because the county council's put a moratorium in place conveniently over election season, so they don't have to do anything right now. I appreciate the governor is willing to take $10 million of our taxpayer money to bail us out of our mistakes, because that's what's happened. There is absolutely no reason in the world that staff would have sat on that the first time our elected officials at the county level heard about it was a year and a half later when they went to apply for their air permit. That's unacceptable, and there needs to be accountability. If there's no accountability, then there's no change. So this is something that's not going away. Keep your ears open, because we're going to hear more about it. Do I hope the $10 million makes a difference? Yes, absolutely. Nobody knows, though.
Ms. Denny, same question to you.
Thank you. They have gone radio silent, but it is an election year. Not for nothing, this thing is playing out politically, and it's been mishandled from day one. And again, it's the leadership role. And let's be on the record, let's just honestly say, there's been a lot of finger pointing from the city commission to the county council. There's not one city commissioner in Ormond or the county council for the last probably 2 or 3 election cycles that were in office when that was zoned. So let's just level the playing field. Nobody set out to zone this that we know of to do that. So let's just balance that right now, neutralize that. 10 million to move it? I don't know. They've got the railroad right there. That is going to be up to them to decide. But again, the issue at the beginning is leadership. It should have been an agenda item. The chair has the ability to put any item on the agenda. Was not done immediately. Should have been.
Thank you. We'll start with Mr. Brower for the next question. The county council recently, or 1 year ago, started a program called Regrow the Loop. It was a pilot program to protect Ormond Beach's loop and the areas around it. The program was implemented to regenerate plant coverage, to attract wildlife and pollinators, to remove invasives from our area, the loop, as well as it had an educational program. Do you support extending that pilot program, Regrow the Loop?
I'm going to answer that in 5 seconds, because I want to go back to Belvedere. It's one of the most important things we face in Volusia County. Yes, I support it. It's a great program. It's working well. I want it to go countywide. What you just heard, though, was untrue. We don't have a moratorium on heavy industrial. I wish that we did. We brought it up. I sat down with our attorneys. We didn't think we had the votes on the county council just to change the zoning, because everybody was afraid about being sued by Belvedere. So we said, let's have a moratorium, look at all the zoning, so we're not just picking on them. look at all the zoning, and then we can change it, and we stand less of a chance of getting sued for $10 million. So we brought it up for a vote, and we got every council member to vote yes for it. 2 weeks later, Troy Kent and I were the only ones that voted for the moratorium again. What happened in 2 weeks? I don't know. But that's what happened with the moratorium. And we also learned that no council, any council ever, has ever been told about pre-application meetings. I changed that. This council changed that, and now we know when it happens.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. The question is about regrow the loop.
Yes. You asked me a no-brainer. Yes. You're talking quality of life, and that actually alludes to an even bigger question. It's been mentioned up here already, we need to be acquiring as much land as we possibly can for preservation in the core of our county where it makes sense to do it. Because if we don't control the land, we don't use it as parkland, if we don't use it as water recharge areas, the people who do control the land, the developers, that's how it gets developed. So we need to be concentrating on those things so that land preservation is something that's important so that we can have balance. That's a major focus so that we can have quality things like being able to drive through the loop, being able to go to our parks, and being able to enjoy those things and enjoy a quality of life that all our many communities in Volusia County can have.
Thank you. Ms. Dennings?
I'm just going to say exactly what Don just said. Of course, yes, we want to support that. But here, we can take it a step further, and here's where I think a strong leader can strengthen that position and help it advance even quicker. And that's to leverage the dollars. We have Volusia Forever. We have ECHO dollars that we can use for Florida Forever for the Greenways grants in Tallahassee. Staff has told me from the DEP that they want, and we actually have 2 of them organized within the next couple months, working with the cities or nonprofit groups. Staff will talk via Zoom to the applicant and show you and work with you how to fill out that application and get it submitted at the state level. So yes, let's grow it, but let's not use dollar for dollar and say we're green. The greenest thing is here, using up all the money in Volusia Forever when we can leverage it with the state of Florida Forever. So let's be wise stewards of what we're doing and continue to do that.
Mr. Beck?
Well, I think we're going to make it unanimous, so yes, obviously, we spend money on historical homes and historical lands and historical places, and this is one of those great places. It reminds me of a time when, some of the things we used to do on a Sunday to just go for a drive, and what a great place. So there's no compromise. Efficiency, I agree completely. And how can we be more efficient? How can we make sure we leverage it? How can we make sure that it goes on forever and it's preserved forever and it doesn't fall into the wrong, somebody who wants to make it something other than it is. We need to make sure that it's safe and protected for generations and generations and generations.
This question goes to Mr. Burnett. The budgeting process is underway this year. The fiscal year starts on October 1st, 2024. There has been a proposal for the new budget. The general fund is under a partial rollback rate. What are your budgetary priorities for the upcoming year, or would be?
Well, what would be, and certainly if I were elected next year, one of the things we're going to talk about is how do we improve an ambulance transport system that has been clearly broken for 10 years. I have in my city an ambulance that has to go to answer calls in Ormond Beach and Orange City from Port Orange because we don't have enough ambulance staffing on the streets right now. That doesn't make sense. So that has to be a priority, and we'll discuss that. There are a lot of different ways that we can address that with the system we have, integrating cities, and certainly pay is a factor. We know everything doesn't cost what it did a few years ago. So we know things are going to cost a little bit more, but how we apply those dollars that make sense is just as important. We go to rollback or partial rollback or whatever it is you want to call that. When you've got 727 new homes being developed, you got $43 million more in your budget. So even rollback is producing a lot more money to decide what to spend with.
It's
Got to
time.
prioritize.
Thank you. Ms. Dennings, what would be your budgetary priorities as chair?
When I was on council, I met with county staff in the county council conference room. Council has their own conference room. And we would lay the books out, we'd take a look at the Excel spreadsheets, and we'd take a look at all the different departments. But one thing the council did Tuesday, which was excellent, they agreed, they went to a partial rollback, but it would have been a complete rollback, but now you've got to put in Sunrail. And again, this council had nothing to do with Sunrail. It was not my council, it's been, 14, 16 years ago, previous council, but electeds, you inherit what councils before you have done. That's what Sunrail has done, that's what's hitting the Volusia County budget, is with the Sunrail, it's very real now, millions and millions. I think their budget now at the county, if I'm right, is just under $1.4 billion. What they agreed to do, I think, is .0855, which will generate $5 million to be put into the general fund for infrastructure. That is a great first step. So you can say you want infrastructure, but I'm not going to raise your taxes. Well, we got to do this, but I'm against that. But wait, we had 16 cities that were ready and had all their list of wants, and it was voted down because we're not going to do it. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome, sorry.
Mr. Dye, your budgetary priorities.
Well, I think that this is always the $1.2 billion question is, what are the basic fundamental responsibilities of government? So, I am a fiscal conservative person. I consider myself in managing other people's resources, which obviously that's of the people's resources, to be a steward. So a steward is you treat it with the greatest respect, and you try to make sure you do what the people desire and what people want. I think that we got to go back to the core responsibilities of government, fulfill the basic fundamental responsibilities. Safety, we've got to be a safe community. That's a top priority. The other part of it is that then we've got to make sure that those that are underserved, how do we deal with the underserved part of our community? You can't just ignore it, but you also have to be efficient. We have $1.2 billion is a lot of money. And so I would say to you that, for me, go to core government responsibilities and then make sure we're taking care of what the people want to do with that money.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
One of my priorities with the budget has always been to reduce your property taxes. If there's anybody in here that's not paying enough property taxes, you can write a check to Volusia County and make up for that. Everybody's paying enough. So my first year and my first 2 months in office, we pushed the county council and the staff to go to rollback. I say we because it was all of you. We turned out hundreds of people, and Heather Post and I literally dragged the county council, a previous council, not this current council, to go to rollback because you're paying enough. We did it by making smart cuts in the budget. One of the things that we're doing that again this year, and I think we're still going to make it, even though the council just voted to increase the millage rate, a majority of 4, 3 of us didn't. We're still going to win that battle. One of the things that we've always protected that's important in our budget is public safety, and we've increased pay for law enforcement and working environments for EMS and firefighters.
I believe the next question goes to Ms. Dennings, is that correct? I think so. I think so. Okay. Volusia County has a issue with affordable housing. What would you do to support bringing or creating more affordable housing in Volusia County?
There's 2 words you hear. You hear affordable housing, you hear workforce housing. They actually are standalones based on HUD and based on funding agreements because there's major grants. Those are really big projects. One thing, we just did a ribbon cutting in New Smyrna Beach this past week for affordable housing for seniors. 80 units, $28 million. And the HUD secretary was there, the state transportation people were there. That's phase one. They're going to do 2 more phases in Smyrna Beach. It can be done. One of the issues that you're hearing is the Live Local Act. The Live Local Act bypasses home rule. And it basically says, in the Live Local, we're going to build affordable housing. We can build it right over there in that corner because it's zoned that way. And if you don't like it, you can't go to your city council. You can't go to county council. It will be done through an administrative hearing in Tallahassee. So all that glitters is not gold. There's a way to get there, but leadership and looking at it.
Thank you, Mr. Dye. How would you increase affordable housing in our community?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know that I would say that we would increase affordable housing. Part of this is a function of the market. And when you have more people coming to a community, then you have places for them to live. You have to understand that that's going to drive the price up. So I would say that it's a project that affordable housing is critical. I mean, it really is. If you're gonna do some of the things that we need, good teachers, good firefighters, good police officers, nurses, and we can go on and on and on through this. We've got to figure out how, it's not I don't believe this is a government solution, although public-private partnerships are probably the way that I would try to solve the problem. The county has some land, can we get the county to section off some land that we can maybe expedite some permits and do some building that makes sense? But I don't believe it's going to be completely on the backs of the taxpayers. This has to be a public-private solution.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Volusia County, for a large part, is a hospitality industry county. Those people don't make a lot of money. The men and women that change the beds in the motels, that keep the motels clean, that cut the lawns, that serve food, that cook food, even firefighters. I have 9 kids. My kids are starting to move out, and the rate that they're paying for rent is astronomical. It's obscene. The council and the county staff have been working for years to come up with a really good affordable housing program, and we did it successfully. The way that we did it is through collaboration with developers, lawyers, environmentalists, people in the community, people that are building the houses. We all work together. The county does have land that we are offering to affordable housing. We can also change local law. We don't have to wait for any other government to zone small houses and affordable houses in areas where they've never been left before, and we will create a whole new incremental development industry with new jobs by doing that.
Thank you.
And we are.
Well, one thing is that we're looking at a local impact of what is a national problem. In the last 10 years, the cost of housing has gone up 114% in 10 years. And we've got, if you ask 10 people what workforce housing is or affordable housing, you're going to get 10 different answers. We've got a lot of programs to help the most destitute, but we've got a lot of people, as the chairman referred to, that work very hard that can't afford housing. We've got down payment assistance through the state that's available right now. So that's very impactful. And the reason why I say it's impactful, we need to get people to own their homes. Renting is a vicious cycle. The more government assistance we give to renting, the more we're going to have to give it down the road. Rents never go down, rents never go away. You need to refocus those dollars to get the minimal down payment so that even in the most modest of housing, in some of our most modest of areas, you take a look at the housing and it's not owned by the residents, it's owned by out-of-town investors. We need to get people in those houses so they can build generational wealth, break the cycle of poverty, and we can stop the government handouts with rental assistance.
We'll move on to closing statements. Please let the audience know if they want additional information about your campaign, where to find it as well. And we'll start with Mr. Dodd.
Well, I do appreciate you all being here. It's great to have this interest. You know, you asked a question. You asked a question earlier about communication, and I think one of the reasons why people tune out political communication is because they've gotten to a point where they don't trust it, and they don't believe what they're hearing. They've gotten to a point where they've been let down because somebody said something and they made a promise and it hasn't been kept. So one of the things that I will tell you, you may not like what I say, you may not like what I said tonight. That's very possible, and I accept that. But one of the things that I will do, if elected, if entrusted with this job from you, is to do three things. Be truthful, be transparent, and then I believe I'll earn your trust. And I think I can restore that trust. Because, you know, again, it's okay to take exception, but I think it's important for those that you elect to always be truthful.
Thank you. Mr. Brower.
Thank you very much. Thank you for filling this house and coming out tonight. Please go to browerforvolusia.com. You can learn more about me. I want to end. I know I've been talking really fast all night. And the reason for that is because there's a lot good going on and a lot more that could happen. I want to end with something that I did promise or said I would work on that I have accomplished that's really critical to you, and that's public safety. When I first ran, I met firefighters who told me that we have a very dangerous job. We have 2 firefighters per station. That means when we go to a house that's on fire, one firefighter goes inside, one's in a truck, they can't talk to each other, they don't know if the one inside gets in trouble. I said, that's not acceptable. When I got elected, the staff in Volusia County heard that, and they already started making plans. We have accomplished that. We now have 3 firefighters in every station. We also have improved working conditions for EMS. I disagree with my friend here wholeheartedly, and I'm out of time.
Mr. Burnett.
It is really funny how fast 60 seconds travels, and a lot of the answers you're getting from us are sound bites, little bits and pieces. So feel free to talk to all of us. We're here right now. Or call me, 386-295-5760, or visit my Facebook page or my website. Come see us. We'll answer those things. I want to give you answers, not sound bites. I have worked on my city council for the last 14 years with 5 other individuals. We're very diverse. Bringing 5 different people together to work on things is not easy, but sometimes you don't always get what you want sitting in the center chair. If you do it right, and you lead the right way, and you're respectful, and you come up with what you need. And I think we've done that successfully in Port Orange. We've got 10,000 acres of preservation land west of the city that can't be grown into. So there's a track record there. I will tell you a lot more because my soundbite is 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate your time.
First of all, again, thank you for coming out. Here's an interesting thing. Some of us live in different cities, but you know where we all live? We all live in Volusia County. And I genuinely believe, and I can see it, and with those that I'm working with behind the scenes, Volusia's best days are yet ahead. And that's why I got in the race. That's why I'm campaigning hard. You can go to debdennings.com. And I agree with Don here. Please give us a call. Talk to the issues in sound bites. I'll call it clickbait, to get somebody to click on your social media. It's too important for clickbait. It's too important for sound bites. We have a history. I have a history of leadership here in Volusia County. I currently serve on Embry-Riddle's Industry Advisory Board. The cheeks back here. Forget the baby book, the adult book's much more interesting. But anyway, I just want to thank you all for listening, for coming. I'm Deb Dennings. Call me if you've got a question, and I look forward to hopefully representing you in a leadership position as your next Volusia County Chair. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.